Now, what is that? Can that be the most romantic dessert made by Gustav for Elizabeth and Lucas and their big date under the stars? Stay tuned. This is a recipe for Gateau au Chocolat. Okay, do not be intimidated by this recipe. We do know that Chef Gustav, he has been, baking cakes and doing magic in his little kitchen over there at the Queen of Hearts. But this actually really is an easy cake. I mean, goodness gracious, there's only 2 ingredients. I wanted to show you a trick with the egg whites and the eggs. So you need 8 eggs. And I have 7 in here and then 7 in here. 7 egg yolks, 7 egg whites. But I wanted to show you my trick. Instead of cracking it over here and using the eggshell, which I feel can poke the yolk, I use my hand. And I don't do it over here in case I ruin this and it plops in there, then I would have ruined all 7 of the egg whites. So I do it over here. So this way, if I only ruin this, I only ruin 1. You want it to be large enough that your hand can fit over it. You open your fingers just slightly. I know it's a little messy there. The egg yolks come out. Of course, you have to wash your hands and make them impeccably clean. And now you have separated egg yolk and egg white. Okay. The oven is preheating at 325. I've separated my eggs. I'm going to fluff these up into delicious fluffiness. And then I'm going to show you how I incorporate the chocolate and the egg yolks. It's very easy. Now just imagine Gustav. He was so excited for Lucas and Elizabeth because he's been watching that romance blossom all along, as I'll show you in a clip right here.
What could that mean for us?
Guess we'll just have to see.
Lucas, did you order the mushrooms?
Sorry, Gustav. What?
The mushrooms.
I'll go to the mercantile. That might have some. Excuse me.
Okay, now I'm going to do my little magic here. You can follow along, and then we're going to put it in the oven at 325. Just a little note, it takes about 30 minutes, but when I bake in my sister's oven, it takes 25. This is a very dense, very rich cake, and it is so delicious. The top sort of gets meringue because of all the egg whites. It is decadent, and it is perfect for sharing, just like Lucas and Elizabeth shared, as I show you right here.
Well, I hope you'll thank him for bringing only 1 dessert. I enjoyed sharing.
I always enjoy sharing with you.
The cutest. I love it. Okay, now if you are not a Lucas and Elizabeth fan, I am sorry. I know some of you were hurt, but stay with me because this cake is really simple and easy. You could make it, bring it to a party, and you would be like the star of the party. All right, here we go. It takes about 4 minutes to beat the egg whites into delicious fluffiness. Okay, the yolks will sit here. You need 18 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. I have chocolate chunks here. I know they didn't have chocolate morsels in the early 1900s, like 1918, but they did have chocolate bars, and you could easily use chocolate morsels, and the smaller the morsel, the easier it is to melt. Now I'm going to take you over to the stove to show you what that looks like. I put the chocolate directly in the pot. It's very easy to melt. Just make sure you constantly stir. I brought the chocolate over here just to demonstrate. You could do it straight up on the stove. The chocolate is all melted. It has a beautiful gloss, which will go away as you add the egg whites. You want this, the egg yolks. You want this to cool down a little bit because if not, it will become scrambled eggs. As it cools down, you'll add half of the eggs, which I'll demonstrate, and then the next half, and then we will incorporate the egg whites. Okay. Here we go. So you do half, or about half, and give it a good mix. And again, Gustav, he didn't have like electric mixers and whatnot. I'm sure he did this by hand delicately because he is a Frenchman who says he knows all about romance. And just think, Lucas really wanted this dessert to be special, and he said he'd leave it up to him, right? And what I love about that is we don't really know what it was. We have to look closely at the pictures, and this is what I'm coming up with. But here's what I love so much about this. They had to eat it with a spoon, and they shared. And Elizabeth pointed out how much she liked that. And sharing with a spoon or a fork, and you share the dessert for back then, I mean, you scoop out the dessert, put it in your mouth, scoop it out. It's almost like a kiss. It's very close to a kiss. Now, when I make these recipes, I do feel for the Nathan fans. I love Nathan. I am a Nathan fan. I just knew from the get-go, as I said before, that that's not where the writers were going. And I was okay with that. I've been waiting for Nathan to have some exceptional storylines and eventually find a love. I just always knew it wasn't going to be Elizabeth. So those of you, as I said before, who are not, and I know I'm repeating myself, who are not Nathan fans, if you made it this far, stay to the end because you're going to have a really good cake recipe. All right, it's incorporated. So now here we go. All right. Ooh, they came out nice. So you want to just fold them in so you can see my motion, right? I'm just going like this. I'm folding it. I'm always afraid it's going to plop out. So I have a spring pan that just makes it pop right out, and you could spray a little, or in case this is non-stick, some people put parchment at the bottom. It's actually very easy. You can use 9-inch, you can use 6-inch. Just if you have the smaller size, it gets a little more lava-like in the center, that fondant part, fondant. Now it's going to bake in the oven for about 30 minutes. And then you're going to turn off the oven, open the oven, and just let it cool down a little bit. Because it has so many egg whites in it, it's sort of souffle-ish. You don't want it to deflate, but it might. And that's okay because the center is supposed to be lava-like. Now, if you look at the picture up close, it looks like there's something like strawberry there. Chocolate-covered strawberries were not invented until, actually in the United States, and not until like, I think it was like the 1960s. So I was researching it and I did find that often they did use strawberries, but fresh strawberries, on top of the cake or around the cake, or sometimes even raspberries. So here's what I was going to do. Because Gustav, you know, he said he knows romance.
Perhaps you could suggest a dessert?
I'll give it some thought.
Gustav, this dinner with Miss Thornton is very important to me.
I'm French. Do not even begin to tell me about romance.
Merci.
I'm going to just cut off the tops. I'm from Jersey. These are not Jersey strawberries. They would be much smaller, but Jersey strawberries are good. Now these are all different sizes. You might want to be uniformed or not because you might want to do this at an individual slice, which I will show you in a minute. But when you cut them in half this way, like that, you're starting to see a shape of a heart, right? All you have to do is take out a little V and they become heart-shaped. Not super perfect heart-shaped, but you get the idea. And then you could serve them on the side with whipped cream. Oh my goodness. Now, how romantic is that, sharing that as a dessert together, the two of them, under the stars? I keep repeating myself, but I can't help it. You know, this is what gets me through my withdrawal because I have to wait till February. It baked for 30 minutes at 325. I shut off the oven, opened the oven, and allowed it to cool for about 10 to 12 minutes. It came right out of the spring pan very easily. I put it on a dish, and then I'm going to flip it over again because you want that top part, which is like, it's not a meringue, but it has like a different texture to it. It's not gooey. It's really light and flaky on the top when you cut into it, and the rest of it is thick and decadent. So you do want to flip it over. Flipped easily out of the pan. Here it is. And I am going to slice it and show you what that is like. Here it is. Since they ate it with the spoon, so am I. And you really eat it with the spoon because it can be, it's like, I don't know if you can hear it. ASMR. It's really moist. You want to eat it that way. It's that kind of a cake. All right, here we go. A little bit of everything. It melts right in your mouth. Imagine the two of them sharing this. Of course, Lucas with his impeccable manners. And he has that twinkle in his eye, and he's just so excited. And Gustav, you know, he is smart. It could have been a cupcake, but because they shared it, it was super romantic. All right, thank you for tuning in. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and you have a good night. Here's the recipe, and since you're here, why don't you click that button and subscribe?